My walks around Bethlehem remind me of several things. One being that this place is mighty interesting, owing to the more than 280 years of history, which happens to be visible all around us. This colonial-era history from 1742 until around the middle of the 19th century is most apparent in the Moravian district, bounded by the creek, by Broad Street, the Lehigh River, and Linden Street. But a second era was born with the arrival of the Industrial Age. This phenomenon began in Great Britain in the mid-18th century and was fueled by coal mining from places such as Wales and County Durham. A demand for coal as a source of heat and for industrial purposes created a need to transport the product to markets. Canals served this purpose, quickly followed by railroads. It was the canal and rail lines which put Bethlehem on the map as an ideally located settlement relative to the coal fields in the lucrative markets of New York and Philadelphia. To really appreciate how Bethlehem, the sleepy village, was transformed into the mighty industrial giant, we need to visit the South Side. It is here we see the result of true entrepreneurial investment. Visionaries like Asa Packer, Robert Sayre, and others were largely responsible for developing the South Bethlehem borough into a center of the so-called machine age. So, it can be said with a fair amount of certainty that Judge Asa Packer was very much the architect of Bethlehem's transformation from what it was to what it would become through the remainder of the 19th century and far beyond.
Asa Packer was an American businessman who pioneered railroad construction, was active in Pennsylvania politics, and founded Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He was a conservative and religious man who reflected the image of the typical Connecticut Yankee. He served 2 terms in the United States House of Representatives from 1853 to 1857. Judge Packer epitomizes true risk-taking instincts, recognizing that the canal system had its drawbacks and a faster method of transportation was needed. In October of 1851, risking financial ruin, Packer purchased nearly all the controlling stock and interest for the unfinished Delaware, Lehigh, Schuylkill, and Susquehanna Railroad. By November 1852, he extended the railroad from Mock Chunk to Easton, Pennsylvania, in exchange for the company's stocks and bonds. In 1843-1844, he was county judge in Carbon County under Governor David R. Porter. George Washington Woodward at the 1868 Democratic National Convention entered Packer's name as a candidate for president as a favorite son, despite himself not being present or actively campaigning. Packer earned a nearly consistent 26 delegates through the 14th round of the ballot, despite him being little known outside of Pennsylvania. Recognizing a need to produce young men who were prepared to manage this new technical age, he gave $500,000 and 60 acres, later increased to 115 acres, for the establishment of a school for engineers. In 1866, the year following the end of the American Civil War, the school, named Lehigh University, was chartered and began instruction. The first main building, Packer Hall, was completed in 1869. With Packer's generosity, Lehigh was able to offer education tuition-free for its first 20 years. Economic troubles in the 1890s forced the university to then reverse this policy. After the initial gift of $500,000, Packer continued to support the university and took an active role in its management. His will bequeathed $1.5 million as an endowment for the university, $500,000 to the university library, and granted the university an interest of nearly 1/3 of his estate upon its final distribution.
I suppose it is safe to say that if there was a Mount Rushmore of the most influential leaders in Bethlehem history, the list would include Count von Zinzendorf as the founder, followed by Asa Packer as the man who ushered in the Industrial Age. We could also add Charles Schwab because of his decisions which transformed Bethlehem steel into a world-renowned industrial power, and then perhaps someone whose contributions have helped the city move from its industrial past to what it is becoming today. Hey, maybe I have an idea for a new video.